Hi. Look, I'm going to keep this simple and I'm going to keep this short. Unfortunately, I was not able to play the dispatch game. Well, I technically did, but I wasn't able to record the dispatch game. And there's a lot of different reasons for that I can give excuses for. I recorded the first 4 episodes, was phenomenal and perfect. And then unfortunately, I went to my subscription feed, not the For You page, the subscription feed, because I've been blocking this game like it's the freaking plague, making sure I didn't get spoiled on anything. But unfortunately, someone I was subscribed to, and I don't subscribe to a lot of people. I subscribe to maybe like 15 YouTubers that I don't know, and the rest are people that I've met in my life who are like, yo, I like your stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let me check out your stuff too. And I subscribe to them and all that stuff. Um, and one of those people who decided to also play the game put a pretty big spoiler in their thumbnail. Now, that frustrated me because I felt like it would have been lame to be able to not be able to truly experience the game when knowing the biggest plot twist that happened in it. So after episode 4, I stopped playing it because it just kind of ruined my mood of it. And I unsubscribed from the person who put the spoiler in their thumbnail. Sorry. That's just not cool to me. Look, I get the idea of wanting to get your clicks and everything, but there's a love to the game of these kinds of things. And I feel like it makes it also less interesting for an audience member to see the spoiler in the thumbnail unless it's actually like a walkthrough video of them trying to see alternatives and stuff like that, which that video clearly wasn't. It was just doing that so they could get clicks. Anyways, I digress. You do you, bro. You get your bag, but you did ruin mine. With that being said, I played Dispatch. It was incredible. And you know, the unfortunate thing is, personally to me, I think I had the perfect run. I'm not going to edit this crazily. Honestly, most of it's just going to be me talking about it. Since I couldn't film it, I'm going to do a recap of it and maybe kind of a review because I just want to talk about this game because I have a lot of thoughts about this game. And I'm going to break it down into the least important and the most important things I want to talk about. Actually, not the least important, most important. I'm just going to try to break it down into categories and hopefully remember as much as I want to talk about this game. I wanted to go into like episode by episode, but first I just want to talk about the game itself. No spoiler wise, so careful, but there will be spoilers in this video. Because I'm assuming anyone who's watching this video has played the game or watched someone play the game. And trust me, after finishing playing the game, I watched people play the game, and it made me realize how different the choices could be in this game. With that being said, though, Dispatch is just so pleasant. It's just such a pleasant and fun experience, and it feels like Telltale again. If you didn't know, a little bit of context. Telltale was this decision-based game that went on from the 2010s, maybe until like early 2020s, maybe not even 2020. I don't even remember. But they were going bankrupt. They lost a lot of money. And unfortunately, the last series they were able to conclude was the first series they ever actually done, I think, or like their biggest series, which was the Walking Dead series. And so they ended on a high, and we were never to see them again. However, the formula came back, and a few of the same people came back, and they were able to work on Dispatch. And you can feel it in this game. But there's one thing that I did note. I'll get to that critique later, actually. But there is a thing that I noticed that like is different from. It's not completely like a Telltale game. It's definitely doing its own thing. Adhoc is definitely its own studio, and I'm really excited to see what Adhoc and Critical Role are going to be doing in the future. I'm not gonna lie. I've been knew about Critical Role. Critical Role was a D&D podcast. Shout out Matt Mercer. Shout out the rest of the Critical Role crew. Love y'all. Anyways, with that being said, it's just really good. The art direction is gorgeous. Every single like frame of this game looks like something that would be in a comic book, which was really awesome, or just looks like a TV show. And apparently, I don't know if this is completely true, but I was having a conversation with my buddy Feeling It. Shout out to Feeling It. His stuff is in the description below. I was explaining how, like, they don't know if they're going to make a sequel to this game. The way they ended it, it made it seem like they want to do more, but also they ended it in a way where it could be its own thing. And based off the information we have right now, we don't know if there's going to be another game or not. So this could be it. But my assumption is, based on how the game ended up going by the end of it, it would make more sense if the season was in the regular dispatch as a DLC versus having it as its own game, because a lot of these decisions made in this game are drastic and huge, and it's very much an origin story, not to the character we play as. Well, kind of to the character we play as, actually, now that I think about it, but it's an origin story to this group of individuals and this new world and this new team. And with that, and with origin stories, there's a lot of, consequences that come with it, good and bad, depending on what you do. With that being said, though, that makes me wonder, like, there's a lot of alternative ways this could end and have ended for a lot of people. So to be able to, like, go into another game, you can't do the same thing like you did with Walking Dead, where, like, either way, it was an inevitable, spoiler alert, either way, it was an inevitable that Lee was going to die at the end of Walking Dead. Same thing with the Batman Telltale games. It's inevitable that Batman might get his ass beat. Some people might getting beat up as well. But at the same time, they're going to jail or they're dying. And we don't need to see them for the second game. So we don't have to worry about bringing these characters back for the second game. Whereas this game, everyone seems so important. And the way it ends feels like there's so much more that these characters can return on. And like so much more these characters have grips and memories and information about that is important. To the point where, like, all the other, they would need to really think about how to, like, interpret it so everyone's satisfied and they can continue everyone's own little stories. Unless they just decide to drop these characters and do a new set of dispatchers and a new crew. But man, the chemistry of these characters was really good. The direction of this game was really good. The art direction of this game was really fun. It's definitely, in terms of its writing, a lot more of a workplace comedy than you would assume. Well, than I assumed, actually. I thought it was going to be more like drama with comedy in it, but it's a comedy first at the end of the day. And I feel like a lot of people need to recognize that. And I feel like a lot of people do kind of recognize that. But I do also know a lot of people are really, like, they get really tired of jokes and dramatic stuff. So it would make sense that they would get pissed off, but they made it clear, even in, I think, like, their Steam description, like, the description for the game is, like, they call it a workplace comedy video game versus an action hero comedy video game. Like, they make it very clear that this is a comedy at the end of the day, which is fine and enjoyable. Characters have great chemistry. I'm going to get to the characters soon. Art direction, like I said before, it's beautiful. Like I said I was going to say about Feeling It. Feeling It mentioned that originally, I don't know if this is true, the game was actually supposed to be made for a TV format. It was supposed to be a TV show at first. Really glad they didn't do that, because it makes it so much more, like, it makes me feel like I'm playing a TV show, which was a lot more fun. And it's always a pretty cool choice to be like you're interacting in this world and with these characters. But it also made me realize a lot of the gripes that I did have with the game. One of the biggest gripes I had with the game was the fact that there were not that many QuickTime events, which are like the events where it's like, press X at this specific time to make sure that you don't, like, trip over this puddle of piss on the floor that a villain just peed because the villain peed on the floor, which actually does happen in the game. But there's no quick time event for it, by the way. But, like, just the sense that, like, there's no quick time events to, like, punch, or there's no quick time events to do these things. And there are some, but they're very lackluster, and they're kind of like just cutscenes versus, like, importance. But I guess it was also similar to that and like Telltale as well. But it just seemed like there was a lot less of it here. But now learning that this was originally a TV format makes it make more sense. And maybe if they were to do a second game, or whatever their second game would be, since they're more focused on, like, the gaming mechanics now and seeing that this works really well as a game, they'll improve upon that. But it wasn't too big of a deal. The actual gameplay with the dispatch stuff was really fun. Can't say I'm good at it, though. Look, I'll be honest. My run was excellent, and I'm gonna get into my run, and I'm gonna get into the spoilers soon. But I'm just talking about the game as a whole right now in this moment. Uh, the dispatch game at first I thought would have been tedious and would have gotten old quickly, but the dialogue between the cast, oh my gosh, the writing and the cast are so great. So many wonderful people there. Laura Bailey, Matt Mercer, freaking dude, Sean, Jacksepticeye, Joel Haver. I'm so surprised they got Joel Haver in this game, but his character works so perfectly. And it's in the sense that like it works like every character like they understood, and of course, moist critical, obviously that too. Um, I'm not saying that like I don't like him, but it's just like he's in there too, and that's really cool. Aaron Paul, man, I'll always be an Aaron Paul fanboy. I need to watch more of his stuff, but that man has such an elite career in acting, so admirable. Even when I'm acting, I always like to look at Aaron Paul's stuff and just he's a big inspiration for me. And just to see him in another elite series and always continually winning, even after Breaking Bad, is such a win. With him in BoJack Horseman, with him in Black Mirror, with him now in Dispatch, and of course Breaking Bad. This man is constantly on a roll, and I just love it. Just him. He's 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 so admirable. He's so funny. He's very charismatic, and he does a great job as Robert Robertson. Yes, that's his name in this game. Now, with that being said, I'm not really going to dive into like I'm gonna explain the whole timeline of the story because again, I'm assuming you've played or watched this game. But I will get into the spoilers soon. But the voice casting was great. It was really awesome to see like YouTubers and just like voice actors delve into like an industry and do things that usually they get neglected on, and they did a really good job. And it's cool to be like, hey, that's Jacksepticeye, but also at the same time, it's just really cool to see these characters feel like real, authentic characters outside of them just being like the voices. You know what I mean? Like I actually felt so much care for all these characters, even when it came to the choice of like, man, when it came to the choice of having to dismiss someone and give someone out. I didn't want to do it. Either way, I didn't want to do it. I did choose Sonar. I did choose Sonar. Which I'm honestly not even mad about. Based on how my gameplay went. Which I guess I can go into that now. Now, we could talk about the choices. The choices I made. And I can go through episode by episode and explain why I made the choices that I made. First of all, you and 51% of players threw alcohol at Flame Bay. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Look, listen. At the end of the day, the way I played this game is how I would genuinely be if I was Robert Robertson. And this man, as I thought of it, he's a good guy. But clearly, if you're being a dick to be a dick, treat people how you want to be treated. He came in here calling me the B word. I'm going to fight back. Obviously, he has flame powers. His eyebrows should have burned in the first place. So, he was all right. He was all right. Fist bumped my boy Royd. Shout out to Royd. Where's to go? Oh, wait. I'm tripping. Did not kiss Blazer. Now, this does not mean that I don't want to kiss Blazer. But I did not kiss her because it was not the right moment in time. Clearly, this is the first time I've ever met her. And, yeah, I mean, that's really it. Like, we were having a conversation. And clearly, based on where the conversation went, that wouldn't have been the time. But there's chemistry there. And I wanted to make sure that, we both felt that chemistry, and we'll let it develop over time. Thinking like a real director. All right. These don't really matter. I'm not gonna lie. You can look at those. You can look at these two. Those are the choices I made for that. Episode 2. obviously. Come on now, shout out Royd. 75% of you covered for Invisigal for punching you. I honestly forgot that happened. I played that so long ago. I took a huge hiatus from the first 4 episodes I recorded and then stopped playing the game, and then I just continued to play the game for the rest from myself. And then found out the spoiler that I got spoiled for wasn't even really that whatever. Anyways, I forgot about that, but like at the end of the day, I was gonna make a huge deal of that. Invisigal's a villain. We'll get to that in a second. Here's the rest of this stuff here. If you care. Oh, I attempted to ask Blazer out over the 27%. I didn't even see that. Yes, obviously, because the chemistry there. With that being said, Sonar met Vanderstreak. I don't even remember that. Coop, shout out Coop. All right, here we go. Sonar as my choice on why I kicked them out. To be honest, I had to choose somebody, and I'm honestly glad I chose Sonar, because then I got to fight Moist Critical and got to have a Moist Critical battle scene. Also, Coop, clearly, as you can see by episode 2, by episode 2, carrying. And Sonar wasn't doing that much carrying. But at the same time, even in the video that I recorded, I was talking about how I didn't even want to drop anybody. If I could, I would not drop anyone. But I had to make a choice. And so I made Sonar. But I made it really clear to him that I didn't want to do this. But obviously, clearly by this picture and his hot bat breath that smelled like bugs and rotten fruit, and probably Gamer Supps, Gamer Fuel, energy drink, he did not take that well. I threw a chair at Golem because Golem was being crazy to me. Again, if you're being a dick to me, I'm going to be a dick back to you. Treat someone how you want to be treated, man. I need a respect. And honestly, kind of crazy that I did it, but kind of deserved. And Golem was all right. Fire, don't really need to explain that. You and 40% of players said you make your own destiny. You and 64% of players said all of you are phoenixes. All right. See, all of this, I'm going to get to the characters at the end. I know what you guys are wondering about. We're going to get to that at the end. Honestly, I might even get to it before episode 7. But just look at these. Look at these answers for a second. Specifically, the make your own destiny and you are all phoenixes. In that conversation, Robert was talking about how it's important that even though you guys are all villains, there's still redemption to be good. And that there's good in all of you. It won't be easy. Lord knows it won't be easy, but there is good in you. And I see it in you as your boss, as your leader. And I'm here to help it get it out of you. And so I also need to tell that to Invisigal, because Invisigal's whole arc in this game is that she feels like no one believes in her and that she's a villain and that everyone's always going to see her as a villain. And based off her superpower, she was always supposed to be a villain, even though there's so many heroes who have the invisibility superpower. So I don't think that was really true. But, you know, it's clearly comes from a deeper like space of feeling like she doesn't have a place to belong and that she's destined to be like this because no one likes her. Yada, yada, yada. Next. Okay. Check those out if you want. Dang. I didn't even realize my supposed to sit out here with Sonar this episode. Oh, my God. It's all right. Anyways. Here we go. Waterboy. First of all, there was a little bit of bias. I'm not going to lie with this one. But also I did have like an actual reason on why I chose Waterboy over Phenomena Man. Man, I get it. He's Superman. But I need like stakes, you know? There's 2 reasons why I chose it. 1, and as Robert Robertson. 2, as me, as a human being and my bias. 1, I love Superman. Superman's one of my favorite superheroes. I live by Superman's like morals. Clearly, by how you're going to see the rest of this game go out, you'll see that. Maybe not by throwing something in alcohol in Flambe's face and throwing a chair at a golem, but like, you know what I mean? Like they were being again. There's a difference between someone's being a dick because they have internal suffering within them and they need resolving, or they're just being a dick to be a dick. And Golem and them were being dicks to be a dick. If it's a gal, we'll get there in a second. Anyways, the reason why I chose Waterboy, one, he's Joel Haver. Love Joel Haver stuff. I just want to see more Joel Haver. Two, the stories of what Phenomenon and Waterboy, their arcs were going to be based off of the information and theories I had in my head, which ended up being correct, kind of, was the fact that if you chose Waterboy, you're allowing Waterboy to build up his confidence and become a hero that he wants to be, right? And so you're building up his confidence for him to become his own person. Whereas Phenomenon is you're bringing him down more grounded-wise to make sure that he's able to be more human and less depressed and see everyone of his peers not as like pets or people below him. And then, he has more humanity in his system. So I chose Waterboy in that sense because I feel like Robert Robertson would be more interested. And also, based off of the previous interactions they've had, I feel like he had more chemistry with Waterboy, Robert Robertson. And I had more chemistry with Waterboy. And I just wanted to see him win. Gosh, the beginning of his dispatches were horrible, though, I will be honest. The part where he goes on his own missions and you can't get him out of it. That's also another reason why I'm glad I chose Waterboy over freaking Phenomenon. To get that out of his system quick and make him improve as a hero. Which he did. I'm proud of my boy. Whoo! Mandy. Look, I don't even really need to explain this one. I'm going to explain the reasonings for at the end. I'm going to explain at the end. But just know, I went out with Blonde Blazer, and it was lovely. 37%? Wow, really? Everyone's team Invisigal. Okay. Check that out if you want. Check this out if you want. Shout out Prism. Prism been killing it. Heck yeah. All right, episode 5. You and the Z team told people you were Mecha Man. Look, after the bar fight that happened in episode 5, I think it's important that we all actually get to know each other. And sure, Flambe was pissed, and I get it. I cut off his freaking pinky finger. He's never going to be able to dig for treasure ever again. But, everyone else was happy that we got to like actually discuss this, and it built me like closer to my team. I feel like there was no reason for me not to tell them. And actually, after seeing what happens when you don't tell them, I'm glad I did tell them. Like there's no like losing to that, I think. You and 60% of players chose to go on a second date with Mandy. Yes, obviously. And now, one thing I do want to mention here is that it says Mandy and not Blonde Blazer, because she says, well, who would you prefer to hang out with? Blonde Blazer, Mandy, and then the third option was like, does that really even matter? But no, it wasn't even like, does it really even matter? It was something like, I don't know, it was like a really lame answer. But I said Mandy. And again, I'll get to that at the end. You and 31% of players told Chase they would not kill Shroud. These are the big things I'm gonna wait till the end to tell this one too, actually. But just know that was my result. That was my answer. You and such 6 players held your own against the Reds. Yeah. Shout out Golem. Next, episode 6. All right. You and 57 of players wanted to wait and make a plan to retrieve the astral pulse. Now, with that being said, there was a lot of options. Obviously, Courtney or Vizzy or Invisigal or beautiful human being actually had the idea during the party when they're all drunk to want to go into this rinky dinky building and make sure that we actually were able to steal the astral pulse. And I was like, no, because one, we're drunk, um, and I don't want the responsibility of everyone I know dying or getting hurt on my watch over something irresponsible like that. Like, look, my goal is to be Mecha Man. My goal is to get back into the ring because, yeah, I'm crippled. I want to get back into the ring. But at the same time, I have the responsibility of so many people on my back now. I don't want to screw that up. I don't want to screw that up. So I can get why people would be pissed off that I didn't go. I waited to plan. I waited to come up with a better plan, or waited to like actually make sure that everyone was on the right mind for a plan. But also, I can at the same time I can understand why people would want to go, because after the bar fight and everyone was drunk then, but we were all boxing and still, I guess we won. I don't know if we really won. I don't think it was really answered. I mean, we actually no, the bodies were thrown around, blood was splattered. Yeah, I think we won. But with that being said, though, I'm a leader. I got to be responsible, man. I got to be responsible. Okay, look. When I said I had a perfect run, I realized I'm good at decision-based games. Me and my sister recently have been playing The Quarry, um, and just for fun, because we just want to spend time together. And me and her are killing it. We have made sure that no one's died and everyone has the equipment and resources they need to survive throughout the entire game. So when it comes to those decision-based games and like making sure we have plans and that we calculate and make sure we have the best outcome of that plan and the best outcome that everyone's safe and resolved and doing something that they're good at, I'm good at those games. I'm good at those decision-based games. Do I wish I recorded them to show that I'm actually good at games? Yes. Shooter games? Nah, I'm not good at. Platformer games? Nah, man. You saw the Jump King video. Hema won. But when it comes to morality and making sure that I make sure that everyone's good and that we're coming up with good ideas and good plans for the majority of people, and emotional intelligence, I think I got that. I think I'll give myself a pat on the back for that at least. But with that being said, though, the reason why I did not help Invisigal was because I kind of struggled during the dispatch section with those little hacking systems, and I got stressed out. So, like, when it comes to games and puzzles and all that, I'm not that good. This is why you don't see me playing games like that so often. So I don't see me playing games that much at all anymore, really. But nah. Yeah. But either way, though, she ended up opening it, and it was fine. You ended up dancing with Blonde Blazer. I didn't even have that choice. I chose a superhero pose. Come on now, we're Mecha Man, we're a superhero. You can look at this stuff if you want to. Most sent out boy. Most sent out heroes, Water Boy, excuse me. All right. Here we go. Now, you and 69% of players refuse to cut Invisigal from the Z team. Now, these last two episodes is where I finally start to get into the nitty gritty on why I made the decisions that I made for relationships and team-based stuff and yada, 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 and hero-based stuff and yada, yada, yada. Look, Invisigal has messed up. Invisigal has been challenging. But everything she's been doing was she's been doing things to do it for the right, okay? She's been trying to do things for the right reason. And yes, they failed. And yes, obviously, with the things that she's been doing, She tries to do it on her own terms, and that sucks, and that's frustrating. But I see she's not evil, especially since she truly believes that based after all these things of trying to do good and then always backfiring, she assumes it's because she's evil and she was destined to be a villain. No! You just need to learn how to accept and ask for help, bro. And so I clocked that. And I know the whole team, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the synergy, when I told everybody that, everyone was pissed off at me. Well, they weren't pissed off at me, but they were like, okay. But like, my thinking was this, and I feel like a lot of people kind of missed this, or maybe people thought about it and justifiably. I mean, again, Invisigirl is not for everybody, bro. She's not for everybody. I can see how she would be a little bit, much for other people, but clearly she has some things going on, and clearly she needs people on her side to be able to, like, help her with that redemption arc. And none of these heroes, proving my point, none of these villains should be talking when they were all villains. My job as my dispatcher job is to lead a team of villains. I should know the consequences with having to lead a team of villains. My responsibility is to go over that hurdle and find the light and heroism in all of them, no matter what. And what does it look like? Me tossing Invisigal to the side, showing to them that there is a sense of no hope for any of them. There's multiple reasons why I decided to choose this. It makes sense because I knew obviously Invisigal wasn't doing anything for the wrong reason. Clearly she isn't a villain. Not until we see the backstory. But but listen though. Clearly she isn't a villain. And I feel like if I was to choose the other option, it would just go against everything I'm standing for as a leader. And even as we're bonding as a family, we don't leave someone like that. Specifically if we know that they're hurting. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that made sense to me. That doesn't mean I get why. I get why people would cut it, and boy, it's interesting. I did not realize how different these choices could be, which is why I explained why if they did a second game, it'd be a little bit more difficult to have it be a second game versus a DLC, where if they had the DLC, they could implement the information of the first season and just push it into the second season, whereas like a completely different second game, unless they're just following new characters, they're going to have to pick some decisions for us and just have that be the canon decision, which I don't like. I hope they don't do that. But I chose Invisigal to stay on the team for that reason, in that she actually does have a redemption, and to prove to them that, like, we need to be here for each other. Everyone's a villain. This is my responsibility. Y'all got to work together as a team, y'all. Come on now. And also, me and Invisigal have been locked in. I'm not going to lie. She's a little flirty. We'll get to that in a second. All right. Here we go. Oh my gosh. I'm so freaking glad I chose this decision. After seeing the other options, I'm so glad I chose this decision. Look, realistically in this situation, after finding out what she did, for me, I let her know that I still care deeply about her, but what she did wasn't cool. You know what I mean? I can't say I forgive her for that, because she crippled me, bro. She crippled me. I had to pivot my whole career. I wanted to be Mecha Man so badly. This whole gameplay, this whole series, he wants to be Mecha Man so badly, just to find out that Invisigal is the one who did that. But at the same time, I understand from her point of view on why she did that. Because she had asthma. She needed some stuff to help her keep herself healthy and alive. especially with her superpowers of having to hold her breath to use her superpowers. So, like, it makes sense. But at the same time, I can't just forgive you for that. So I made it clear that, like, I care for you deeply. This is why you're still on the team, clearly. But I'm going to have to sit with that. And we're going to have to sit with that. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't hate you for that, but I'm not going to forgive you for that. It might take some time, and our relationship will grow again, but that ain't cool. Now, though, based off what I saw, when I saw people say I forgive you, I'm so glad I didn't get that, bro. I'm so glad I didn't get that. The kiss? Oh my gosh, that would have pissed me off. That would have pissed me off. We're going to circle back to this in a second, and that kiss situation, once we finish this. But that was my reasoning on why I didn't know how to feel about that. Because I genuinely don't know how to feel about that. I have the right to be pissed off, but at the same time, I do deeply care about you, and we do have a relationship and a bond. So I told her that. Anyways, got my Twinkies. Again, Glass the bartender. If you're being a dick to be a dick, actions have reactions. You know what I mean? Like, know what you're getting into before you do something. But I'm still gonna be like focused and locked in heart. Anyways, right. Malovia. Shout out Malovia. Malovia was acting crazy in what? Yeah, episode 6. Malovia was acting crazy. She was, I don't know. It seemed like they were gonna have her be a third love interest. All right. Now, episode 8. All right. You and 61% of players deceive Shroud by giving him both astral pulses. I think this one, based off of who Shroud is as a character, we know that he's a human just like Mecha Man and or Robert Robinson, and was actually a partner with Robert Robinson's dad, and they were both like engineers who were really good at making mecha suits and all that stuff. And his superpower was that he's able to like calculate and predict what someone's gonna do, like a good amount of a percentage to be able to like diffuse the situation in his way, so he has the higher advantage. And obviously, when he talked about the pulses, if I gave him the actual pulse, he'd get the superpowers. But if I gave him the fake one, he would know it. I gave him the fake one because he even told me, I know if you would give me the fake one. I have those calculations already built in my head if you give me the fake one. So don't mess with me like that. I'm killing your dog. And I'm not letting him kill my dog. I will go John Wick if he killed my dog. So I outplayed him. And it clearly seems like with the 61%, a lot of other people outplayed him too. He believes he always has the right calculations. He believes he always has the better hand. Okay, buddy. Here you go then. Show us. You got to make a decision now. Even if you look like a punk, you got to make a decision. And he made the wrong one on his own hands. And that just felt so much more powerful and fun. And also, both Astral Pulses just seems like the most trolly version. And I just felt like that was the funniest choice. And it ended up being the funniest choice. All right, though. Now this clearly, I can see I'm in the minority here. Look, I'm going to explain it simply. And multiple, I'm gonna explain as much as I can here. Hopefully I don't forget what I want to say. Why I spared Shroud. 1, stuck to my promise. It seemed like Chase did not want me to kill him. Maybe if I said I wanted to kill him, maybe he'd be like, all right, just no. But he seemed like, yeah, you're an actual hero. Now, I get the whole gist. I get why people would want to kill Shroud. He killed my papa. He killed my papa, right? And if he was to kill him, it would be better that it was in his own hands. You know what I mean? Like he killed him with his own hands, which seems to be what happens in the game if you choose to kill him, depending on the decision that you get or you go with, the path you go with. But multiple things. One, everyone's watching. A bunch of villains are watching, and as a leader, to show them that redemption, to show them to be the better person, which is another thing. I got to be the better person than them. Like, this is not only just me and him now, it's me and my team. Because then now they see me do this, then they're going to want to go killing people willy-nilly again. And that restarts everything. So there's that, proving that I beat your ass. I'm pulling like Monkey D. Luffy in here. I'm not letting you die, but you will get, you know what I mean? Like, people need some knocking in the sense. You know what I mean? Like, they need to like realize, all right, bro, humble yourself. And I think with his face looking like like freaking like beef patty, like raw beef patty, I humbled him and show him, yeah, I can beat your ass. Don't do that again. You're getting tossed in jail. I'm a better man than you for killing my dad, and you still living to suffer the beating, bro. I feel like that's more, that might make me sound crazy psychologically, but like, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of, like, one, it's the right thing to do, because death is crazy, at least to me. Either way, even if anyone says they want to kill anyone, as a joke, kind of funny, but like in a realistic way, it's kind of crazy. Like, that's permanent. 2, shows me I'm a better person than you. 3, shows you that you're a punk. and 4, it also shows my group, my team, which it did say in the corner, everyone would remember this, that you spared Shroud. It shows your team how to actually be a hero. And the consequences, like there can be serious consequences to your actions. So that's why I chose the spare Shroud, those specific reasons. And I stuck to it, you know, some real Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, Luffy type beat, even if I wanted to kill him. I trusted Invisigal. I mean, like, this is straightforward. It was like, people assume Invisigal was the villain, I guess. Like, she was going to betray you or whatever. I thought it was obvious that she clearly wasn't. Obviously, like throughout the whole game. So I was just like, that makes no sense. So obviously, here we go. You and 68% of players supported Invisigal, leading her to embrace heroism versus villainy. This was so freaking satisfying, dude. This was probably the most satisfying arc of the entire game. Second to this. Actually, no. This was more satisfying, but this is still top tier. And I will get into that in a second. Let me see this other stuff real quickly. All right, see, this shows you that I suck at video games again. You and 28% players lost to Sonar and failed to save Los Angeles. Yeah. See, Sonar had to go to jail. But look. I know people have the option, if you beat Sonar, then he can get out of jail. But at the end of the day, bro was petty. And look. If I did beat him and I had the choice to free him and he could join our team again, I would have done that. But since I didn't have the choice, I'm okay with him going to jail. And even Blonde Blazer says at some point, hey, maybe in a few months, he can come back and join us. So he just needs, again, some humbling after doing terrorism to all of Los Angeles for getting laid off, something I didn't even want to do, and even I apologized to him twice during the layoff scene and before he wanted to kick my ass. So, like, bro, he needs to just get humbled. That Redditor needs to get off of Reddit, start touching grass, Well, I guess start touching weights in the prison and just don't drop the soap, I suppose. But like, I'm not like, obviously it would have been nice to free him and have the whole team together, but at the same time, this seems realistic, bro. These are your like actions equals reactions. You know what I mean? And this is the reaction. So I'm not surprised. I'm not mad. It seems like he can get out and can join the team. So in my canon, after a while, maybe he like becomes like a real good person and decides to do better in his life. And if not, you know what I mean? We gave him those opportunities. We gave him that second chance. Clearly. Now we'll get to these two in a second. I know everybody's wondering about that. I put thumbsticks peeing away, bro. I did. I did. Shout out Prism, as always. Shout out Golem. This is the most beautiful thing to me. This is what made it complete for me. This is what satisfied me. A true hero. Your Robert always tried to do the right thing at the right time. Wow. That just made me feel good. That might sound a little corny, but like, bro, that just made me feel good. Like, that was just like, man, I tell you, I'm not. Look at Coop, strongest hero. W redemption on Coop. Now, with that being said, hold on, I need to go blow my nose. Please ignore me. Now, with that being said, though, last thing I do want to talk about, what the freak happened to the, where's my blonde blazer at? Oh, there she is. Last thing I do want to mention, though, is the romance. Now, here we go. A lot of people are right about one thing I noticed in this game as well. This game clearly does have a bias for Invisigal. There's not a lot of scenes that you have with Blonde Blazer and you compared to as you do have with you and Invisigal. Makes sense. Me and Invisigal spend more time on the clock together. We work together, so we have more time to connect with each other. But I was a Mandy boy since the beginning. I was a Mandy boy since the beginning. Since the first time she looked at me, I just didn't kiss her because I was kind of nervous. But at the end of the day, I knew what I was going for, and she was perfect. Now, I'm going to explain my reasoning why I decided to do this. One, to me personally, the way I was playing the game and the way the characters were presented to me and the way that I was reacting to how their actions were coming to me. Invisigal or I'm just gonna say Courtney, no, yeah, Vizzy and Blazer both have two different arcs. Blazer's arc is that she's one of the premium superheroes, one of the biggest superheroes there ever were, and because of that, she doesn't have any personal connections in her life, and she feels like her life is boring outside of being a hero, and that only people see her as that hero. Kind of same thing with the Visigal and villainy, but at the same time, it's more, it's less, well, it's eternal, but it's also like true because people see Blazer as Blazer and not as a human being. And so, Robert, throughout the game, at least how I was playing it, Robert was able to break that ice and show her that she's okay with just being who she is, and that he will love her for that, right? And so that's why I feel like it made it more impactful throughout the game when she was like, well, what do you think? How do you think I look without my amulet and looking like a brunette? I'm like, you still look hot as hell. What the hell? But it makes sense that Mandy was chosen because, hold on, I'm losing my train of thought now. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my train of thought, bro. I was killing it. It just made more sense because even the way I was playing it, I kept on being like, I'm fine with seeing Mandy. I like seeing Mandy. I like seeing the side of you that you're hiding from people. It's okay to share that. You know what I mean? And she felt more comfortable with herself. And it felt like that was more satisfying when she did give the amulet away and was just okay with being Mandy. This felt like a more satisfying conclusion to that arc for her and Robert's story, especially with how she was looking at me here. Anyways, now, Vizzy. Look, I know a lot of people love toxic relationships, but I was just not having that. I was not having that. I was not having that in that sense, but I did deeply love Vizzy. But it was in like a sibling aspect, you know? Like every time she did this stuff she was doing or saying the stuff that she was saying when I was watching people, they were like, oh my God, here she go again. She just doesn't stop. It felt like a little sibling, you know what I mean? Like it gave like sibling energy. And so I'm like, I need to be here for her and show her that she has a family. Her whole arc is that the I honestly think she obviously, depending on how you play it, there's probably a very cute romance there. But to me, the biggest problem she had was the fact that she believed that no one liked her and that she was destined to be a villain and that she deserved to be alone. With that being said, I recognize that through each and every single time, like she's trying her best to prove to everyone that she can be something great, but then she keeps on failing, and then that kind of heightens her feelings of feeling like that I should be alone and that this is not okay. However, I was not going to let that fall. I'm the coach. I'm coach. And in this case, I'm big brother. You know what I mean? And so now I'm trying to make sure that she sees that I still got her and that I still see her and that I'm going to make sure you're going to be okay. And that I deeply do care for you, but just not in that way. Just not in the way where I want to be smooching you. And that's why I'm so glad. Hold on, show it. I'm so glad I chose this and was more honest with her about that. That what she did was not cool to me and was kind of personal. So I'm not going to let that slide and say I forgive you. But I still love you deeply. I'll still stand in front of a bullet for you. But that ain't cool. You know what I mean? So that's like, to me, that made the most sense. And so I'm so glad I chose that because, and I want to go back to this conversation now because based off what I saw from the two ways, from the at least I forgive you versus the didn't know how to feel, because I didn't actually see the other one, the third one, where it's like I hate you or we're over or whatever. You choose I forgive you. She kisses you. She kisses you. Whereas like the most important switch in dialogue that I noticed between the two options was when I said didn't know how to feel, she understood that, but also felt a little assured that I didn't completely hate her for it and could understand where she was coming from it in that past sense. So, with that being said, the one piece of dialogue that I remember her saying between those two options was, in the one that I ended up choosing, well, no, in the one, I'll say the one where it says, I forgive you first. Where you say, I forgive you, she looks at you and she's like, he's too perfect. He's too kind, right? She says that. And then she runs off, but then she kisses you quickly. But then the thing she says is like this: I just wanted you to look at me the same way you looked at Blazer. Because the bubbling up of emotions rises up again because you're so nice to her about it. Which is not a bad thing. But like still, wrong place, wrong time. I think do what you do with your life, but for me personally, when it comes to like relationship stuff and trying to figure out who you are, forcing yourself to want to be in a relationship so someone has to like you, but they like you for sexual reason only, Go off if you go off, but I personally I don't think that's very healthy. Um, and so I'm just like, yeah, that's I don't want that to be the focus of us. This relationship, like we need to see what's going on with you. And so when I chose didn't know how to feel, instead of saying I just wanted you to look at me the same way that you look at Blazer, she actually says something in the lines of like, I just want to be seen the same way you look at other people, or something like that, or like something in the sense where she just wants to be felt and seen and heard from somebody and accepted by somebody or a group of people, and that she doesn't want to feel like the villain anymore or whatever. And that felt more like, there we go. That's the real problem here. And you're finally talking about it. She said it in more depth than nuance, but that was like the gist of it. And so for me to hear that and then tell her, and then like also keep her on the team and believe her, and then finally have that conclusion where she does redeem herself and she becomes the hero and saves everyone, saves my life, and then she's like on the roller and everyone's cheering for her and she finally gets the acceptance and love and family and belonging she wanted and needed. That was so, I'm tearing up right now thinking about it. That was more satisfying to me. And then I also get the girl, and then even in that situation, Vizzy was like, yeah, they really are cute together. Hey, yo, Robert, don't screw this up, bro. And so now me and Vizzy are like locked in like brother and sister partner in crime. We're going to take over all of Dispatch while I still have the love of my life, and we're having this satisfying human bond to bond situation. So I feel like this was the best ending for everyone. Vizzy found her belonging and acceptance and became a hero, and found love through family that she never had. And Mandy was able to find love and acceptance in personal life of someone who truly does see her for who she is outside of her public figure status, and was able to want to create that bond and connection with her. And that was freaking, I feel like that was the perfect balance. And also, the whole team ended up becoming more hero-y. I mean, they still got their quirks and all that, and I love them for it. That's mostly why I want to see a sequel. It's because these character dynamics are so amazing. But I don't know, man. I just felt like everything was so satisfying, and that's why, after all of that, seeing this, I was like, I mean, outside of this, but I mean, outside of my boy Sonar being in jail, but again, bro did terrorism because he lost his job. I'm not too mad, but at the same time, man, I'm really satisfied with how the game turned out. And I'm really satisfied with how my game turned out, specifically. But there you go. Those are my choices, and that's kind of also my review of the game. My gripes that I had with the game: one, the quick time events weren't as good as I like. They weren't as impactful or important as it seemed. But then I can cut it slack after learning that it was supposed to be a TV format, and they probably just added the quick time events at the last second to give it more gameplay value. And then also the fact that I did kind of wish there was a balance more of the Invisigal versus Blonde Blazer dynamic, because I specifically do believe that, there was a little bit of an Invisigal bias here, which is fine. And clearly, a lot of people are into it. A lot of people love that toxic enemies to lover stuff, which I get. I get. Watching Corey and Berlisi play this game is so funny, because it does actually genuinely show me the different options that could have happened and the different places this could have taken. There, yo, but that's at the same time, when I played my game of it, I was like, maybe this is the boring. This is boring compared to how they were playing it, because they're playing it crazy. Berlin ended up getting. I didn't even know originally when playing that game. I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't even know that was possible. You know what? Excellent series. I recommend you watch both of theirs. Get the whole context of the whole game from theirs. I also got to see how the Vizzy romance ending would have turned out compared to the Blonde Blazer ending. But I'm very satisfied. I'm very satisfied with the way that my game concluded and how everything ended up being. Like everything about that is like I feel like was perfect to me. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's really it. I mean, it's less of a gripe, but also just like a warning. Again, this game is more comedy than it is action. So if you notice that the game stops a dramatic moment to do a comedy bit, just recognize that this game is a comedy first. But all in all, excellent game. Had a wonderful time playing it. Wish I could have recorded it or at least just streamed it. I wish I would have streamed it and then just edited that into a thing. And the reason why I can't really even edit those other videos, also outside of the fact that I the spoiler thing or whatever, was the fact that the audio for those were booty cheeks and my Elgato ended up breaking at the time I wanted to record it, so I had to record through my PlayStation, but like the PlayStation recording system is a lot less advanced than recording it with obviously actual film recording software.
Right, left, right, left.
And so my mic sounded like a Call of Duty microphone the whole time, and it just wasn't worth it. But I wish at least I streamed it. But it is what it is. At least you know the context of the situation now, and at least you know my recap of Dispatch. Please play the game for yourself. There's so many different ways you could play this game. Support this game. Support Adhoc Studios so we can get more games like this. I at least need a trilogy of this series. This series don't need to be going on for like 650 video games, but like I need at least like one more or two more installments of Dispatch with these characters. Or you could just continue it and do a different batch of characters, which is fine too. But I just like the dynamics. But also, it'd be cool to see different like creators and talent join the like new heroes and all that or villains. It'd be interesting. All in all, really good game. Really like it. Why am I zoomed in? I didn't even realize I was zoomed in like that. This new camera is freaky. That's about it for me. Thank you so much for watching. And play Dispatch for yourself. Have a good night, or day, or evening. Drink water. And I had to finish my college assignments and finals, which have been killing me for the past 2 years. So I'll see you when I see you. Hopefully sooner than later. All right, take care.